Friends, it's Professor Pandemic here with another math lesson. Today we're talking about adding fractions with unlike denominators. This is different than adding when denominators are the same. If you haven't watched my video on that, I encourage you to go watch that before you get involved with this lesson. But today, if you see here, we have 2/5 and 1/3. You can't add any fraction or mixed number when denominators are different. So you have to make denominators the same. How do you do that? You have to create equivalent fractions. You have to make both denominators the same. So how do you do that? You have to find a factor both denominators have in common. So my suggestion is to skip count. Now, I always pick the smaller digit and I skip count by about 5 or 6 numbers. So right here I have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Basically 3 times 1, 3 times 2, 3 times 3, 3 times 4, 3 times 5. Usually if you go about 5 or 6 numbers, that's all you're going to need to do usually to find an equivalent fraction. I do the same thing with the 5. And I keep going until I find a number they both have in common. So look here, 15, they both have in common, which means I want to change both denominators to 15. How do I do that? Well, I make equivalent fractions. 5 times 3 is 15. Whatever you do to the bottom or denominator, you have to do to the top numerator. So if I multiply the bottom by 3, I multiply the top by 3. Same thing here. 3 times 5 is 15, so I'm also multiplying by 5 here. Notice as well that it's really just multiplying the opposite denominator. That works most of the time, but sometimes it may make the number or the fraction too big, and you might have more simplifying to do. So it's always nice to check to see if that number is the first one they have in common or if you're picking too big a number. You'll still get the same answer if you pick a number that's bigger. You'll just have to do more simplifying at the end of your problem. So once you've gotten your new fractions, it's just like adding regular fractions with like denominators. 6 plus 5 is 11, and 15 stays the same. We have 11 over 15. There's no mixed number or no improper fraction, so we can keep this as our answer because we also don't have to simplify. If this becomes an improper fraction, we will have to make it into a mixed number and possibly have to simplify it as well. We'll take a look at a problem or two like that in the next set of questions that we come on. So, before we go on to some questions, if you need to rewatch this part of the video, pause and rewind. But if not, let's go on to our set of problems for the day. All right, friends, our first question for today is 7/10 plus 4/5. Let's see how you do. Again, you have to make equivalent fractions, then add, and if you have an improper fraction, change it to a mixed number, and then simplify if needed. Hopefully, mathematicians, you ended up with an answer of 1 1/2, which is in simplest form. If you ended up with 1 5/10, you were close, but you forgot to simplify at the end. So let's walk through it. When you're looking to make equivalent fractions, 5, when you skip count, it actually matches 10 here, which means you only have to change this fraction. The 7/10 can come right down here because it's already in a form that you can use. Multiply by 2 gives us 8/10. 7 plus 8 is 15. 15/10. That fraction is improper. The numerator is larger than the denominator, which means we have to go up here, do our division so we can get a mixed number. We end up, after the division, getting 1 5/10. 5 is half of 10, which means I can simplify to 1/2. If you weren't sure of that, then you would just have to divide by 5 to get that answer as well. 1 1/2. And this is what a problem looks like if you have to do everything. Make equivalent fractions, add, make a mixed number, and then simplify. Let's do a couple more problems. Hope you're ready for the next problem because here it is. We have 5/8 plus 3/4. Let's see if you can get the correct answer. All right, friends, the best answer in simplest form would have been 1 1/4. Let's walk through this to see if you've made a mistake where it might have been. Again, to make equivalent fractions, I need to get both numbers here to be 8. So this one's already 8. I can bring this one right down. 4 times 2 is 8. So again, I multiply the numerator and denominator. Both fractions end up being 5/8. Add them together, I get 10/8. If you can do this division in your head, that's fine. Otherwise, you should do the division up here to make sure your mixed number works, which gets 1 and 2/8. Again, you don't have to show your work if you know how to divide by 2 on both of these, but again, if it helps you, because it's just something that you need visually to do, that's fine as well. It still gets you 1 and 1/4. Don't forget, when you simplify here, to bring the whole number along with it. Sometimes people forget and they just write 1/4 as the answer, but that would actually be wrong because you forgot the whole number with it. Make sure you bring the whole number along with the fraction so you have your mixed number in simplest form. Let's do 2 more problems. All right, friends, our last 2 problems of this video are 1/2 plus 5/7 and 7/12 plus 3/4. Pause this video and take a couple minutes to get these answers, see how close you get or if you get the correct answer, and we'll check your work on the other side. Hopefully, mathematicians, you ended up with 1 and 3/14 and 1 and 1/3 for your 2 answers. If you did, give yourselves a pat in the back. If you got 1, even better. Let's see if we can figure out where your mistake is. We had to multiply 5/7 by 2 here and 1/2 by 7, which gets us 7/14 and 10/14 equals 17 over 14. And then we get 1 and 3/4 right there. For this problem, we only had to multiply one side, the 3/4 by 3. So we had 7 plus 9 gives us 16. 16 over 12 gives us 1 and 1/4 when we turn it into a mixed number. And then 1 and 1/3 when we finally get our answer in simplest form. So hopefully these problems helped you get a better understanding of adding fractions with unlike denominators. If you need more help, talk to a teacher or a parent. But as for me, I'm Professor Pandemic. And until the next video, remember, the more you learn, the more you know. Have a great day, friends.